Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Can we start now, sir?
Yes, sir, just couple of minutes more since scheduled time is 3. So we
Okay.
are just 2-3 minutes away, maybe a couple of minutes time.
What we need to do.
Further, actually, but he's removing.
What we have to do.
So it's almost 3 now. So with everybody's permission, can we start or shall we wait for a couple of more minutes maybe?
I think we should start.
Yes, Shubhajit, let's start.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second edition of this exclusive session on products and services for EPC and turnkey projects. To start the session, may I now call upon Dr. Rajiv Singh, Director General, Indian Chamber of Commerce, to deliver his welcome address.
So good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
On behalf of ICC, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all our eminent guests and the speakers who have very kindly agreed to spare their valuable time to be with us. Let me formally extend a warm welcome to Mr. Srinivas Singh. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Manoj Chakrabarti. Again, a very warm welcome to Mr. Pankaj Karmakar, Mr. Amitabh Soor, Mr. Prateek Dattare, Mr. Pallab Kar, and I think we will also be joined by some more speakers in the course. We are meeting at a time when entire economy, not only India, but globally, is faced with huge challenges. There is high inflation. The energy prices have gone up. Uncertainty in terms of what may unfold in the near future is there. The global economies are struggling with high costs. But at the same time, outlook for India and Indian market is bright, I would say. And entire world is looking at India as an alternate market. There has been huge investments which are in the pipeline or which are being considered under China Plus One policy, and India definitely stands to gain. Government of India also has a huge push for infrastructure. Gati Shakti is a very ambitious plan where government wants to interlink all the transportation infrastructure modes, and their idea is to have all the projects on same platform and to find out synergies, to reduce overlaps, and to bring in efficiency and also fast track implementation. Now, EPC, I don't need to explain to this group of experts who are practicing people, who know what is EPC, what is the market. But as a chamber, I would say the outlook for EPC is quite good because India is having huge investment plans, and climate change is one of the key agenda. I think green energy, solar, wind, biomass, although hydro moves slowly, but hydro also potential exists. And also in terms of infrastructure, construction, there is huge activity which is happening. Now, I mean, the job of EPCs is not easy. It's basically government transfer the risk and EPCs share the risk. And then at the back end, they also have to deal with a series of issues like ease of operations, ease of getting clearances, land clearances, getting skilled labor, and also dealing with local ground level issues. I think the scope in EPC in Indian market has also attracted multinational companies, and that is how we see a lot of foreign companies operating in the EPC market. And of course, then taxation becomes one of the key concern for most of them. But broadly, in spite of all issues, and also if one really looks at last 5 to 10 years, government also has been able to streamline some of the processes and some of the clearances. And it's not only happening at the national level, even at the state level. State governments are competing and everybody wants to have a better rank in terms of EODB. Of course, there is scope for further improvement, which I think states are aware. And I see some of the states working seriously on this. I think because of various initiatives, including Gati Shakti, government push for solar, government's push for infrastructure really offers opportunity. I think Indian EPC industry has been very, very competitive and has been able to deliver very well on most of the fronts. But of course, I will leave it to the experts who are here, who would be speaking on what is how the industry looks at the future, what are the challenges, and also the theme is the product and services for the EPCs and the turnkey projects. With these words, I would like to once again warmly welcome all our experts, and I'm sure there would be interesting and useful takeaways for all the participants who have gathered online with us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for starting the session on a very positive note. May I now call upon Mr. Srinivas Singh, Managing Director, McNally Bharat Engineering Company Limited, to deliver his keynote address. Mr. Srinivas Singh.
To all of you, sir, I take this opportunity to thank ICC and also the co-panelist to whom last time also in the first sessions I had met. And we really had an excellent interactive session in my view last time. there were many points which were raised by the panelists in terms of what are the difficulties we are facing in the EPC industry. So since about the product and services, I think the dignitaries are from the respective field, they will be addressing. And I being I have been only authorized to really speak as a keynote address. So I will restrict my, in fact, my lecture only to the area of EPC. About the products, I would not like to talk because all my other co-panelists will talk. Because I have, as I told last time also, I have nearly in this industry for more than 50 years. And mostly I have done personally involved in more than 500 EPC projects. So I have gone through the appeals, the problems, the beauty of EPC, and what are the challenges, and how they have been really over the years have developed. But now, particularly after the COVID-19, as I say, so I will be restricting, since the time is short, I will be restricting my own experience, how after the COVID, what are the difficulties and how we have been able to resolve in a manner that at least we are able to face the challenges. And in my view, to really address our real, the dream of our Prime Minister to become Atmanirbhar, and also how that with all these global problems, that means you see after the COVID we faced the war of Afghanistan, then now the war with the Ukraine, and then the Chinese problem so far continuing by not able to supply any goods and services, on whom most of the globally people who are depending on them for components and others. So I have, within this last 4-5 years, I would, whatever I will be speaking, they will be mostly my own experience and how I have been able to apply. So with these words, I want to tell that you see after the COVID-19, in fact, during the COVID-19 period, we had, all contractors were not able to mobilize people, products were not able to be, collected and supplied on time. And then availability of not only the resources of manpower, lack of transportation, all this created a real havoc. I tell you how we really handle it. You see, we had to really go through a lot of mechanizations. For an example, there was a time I had to fabricate about 50-60,000 tons of steel. How do we do it? Welders are not available, gas cutters are not available, markers were difficult to get. Many times I had to take them to site, make special arrangement for them, fly them from their places, but we utilized the robotics for welding, cutting. So what we did, not that whatever we could have achieved in the regular fashion we could achieve, but I tell you, it showed us a way that in time of difficulties, we have to find out solutions which will really show us a way so that you see we are able to achieve. I can only tell you now, I could find that you see even after the COVID, I have been able to reduce our cost, because subsequently after the COVID also, the manufacturing cost has reduced because of the, time shortage. So similarly that we have been able to develop skill, because you see we had factories where people are not coming. We had to arrange special arrangement for them so that they could stay, we could provide them food, but they produced goods and services, more particularly the spares. Because I have done more than 500 odd projects where a lot of equipment, where spares were required. And unless the spares were essentially needed, even power plants or steel plants, wherever we had product, because during COVID also the plants were running. So now this is one of my personal experience, which I am sure I can recommend to all my panelists, those who are having the factory, to have a look at that. Even at difficult time, this is one of the ways. One is the finding out alternate solutions, like going towards, information system, we had applied, digitization of all our projects. I had about 35 projects. To get information was difficult. So we really implemented, you see, artificial intelligence to get the information on day-to-day basis. And with lesser people, we have to give people leave. They have to sit at their home and to do work from home. So even if these difficulties, I'm sharing my experience for the industrial benefit. that these are the way how we have to also look at, because we have an objective to become a Atmanirbharshil company, country, and where we should also not depend much on this one. Then coming to certain other areas, like, in the EPC contract, there are a lot of specifications where you are required to import goods either from Germany or from China. We have gone to the technology experts, we have gone to the consultant, we have gone to the customer. We have persuaded them that, for an example, suppose there is a hydraulic drive is required to be provided, but can it be changed to a electromechanical drive, like run with a VVD drive? And you should, considering the even organizations like Coal India, NTPC, in olden days, they were never able to even look at it. If you go for a request for a change, they were never doing it. But I found that this time they know that unless these are accepted or these type of suggestions are implemented, it will not be possible for them to have their project. So this is one area where I feel that if all of us, the industry, those who are involved, we should all either unitedly or individually go and convince to people, to the customer, to the A, that if you have to be really self-reliant in our country, we must look at alternative. Technically, it must be suitable, even though there may be commercial implication of solution. So this is the third area where really I had a lot of, in fact, problems I could solve. As I said, to skill development, we also started in fact, you can say institution-like situation where, because we need a lot of welders, gasketters, and fitters. So we have really started hiring people from the, the local IITs and bring them. We have given them shelter. They are doing the work and they are taking very little money. But when they are able to come to a level of expertise, we are able to give them regular salary. So they are becoming a kind of a bonding they are having with the company. These are the areas also we have implemented. So now my point of telling is that even in spite of the difficult situation, we have been able to, I think we should, once we are trying to go towards that, these are the areas which I would, I have implemented, I have found myself the benefits. So I can definitely say that we can, all of us can plan and think of doing similar thing. Third is most important, as I have last time, I think I had said, this EPC contract is most of our public sector contracts are one-sided, because they used to be, if they won't give land, your bank guarantee will be required to be extended, insurance needs to be taken. All this was a common phenomenon. We all had appreciated. I tell you, for your, you'll be surprised. Now, organization like NTPC in their new contract have now virtually, partially, at least not full extent, they are amending their contracts. And this because I had about 25 contracts. I must have every month visited NTPC director, chairman, and everybody. When you see, there are some contract where for last 10 years, one of our project, you see, because there is no land, so that they are going on extending our guarantee. So now I'm just today, yesterday I had a meeting with the NTPC. They have told that in all new contract, these all such conditions are going to be amended, but to what extent, he said maybe in a month or two he will do. So this is an area where I think all individually plus through the chambers like ICC or CII for that matter, or even the Builders Association, we can all think of going together to persuade without compromising any quality. If there is a cost rebate, let them take it. But if you are going to complete the projects on time, because if you have to be 5 trillion or 3 trillion economy over in the future, it can be done only by industrialization. Industrialization can be mostly the real industrialization we can achieve if the country really go towards EPC. EPC doesn't mean that only one entire thermal power you give. Even each package is an EPC contract. So the magnitude of the, but the processes are same. So my aim is that to really have take the country forward, we need industrialization. For industrialization, we need the EPC contracting system should be so transparent, and so it should not be a one-sided contract. The customers normally used to say that, okay, in our contract nothing is written to compensate you if I am delayed, but if you are delayed you are going to be penalized. These are the conditions which we have been able to thrust, because we have said that even in the contract there is a reciprocal promise, there is a provision of law, but okay, in your contract you have not written. I am telling you, 2-3 such large organizations I have been able to request them, and I have been assured that maybe in the next all tendering few of them are going to be changed. So these are few things which I feel is very important for us to, so as I said you briefly, I will not take much of the time. We need to be, once for Atmanirbhar, we have to definitely go for industrialization. For industrialization, we need EPC contractor. EPC contracting system has to be really appreciated by the by the customer as well as by the technology, like the houses like NTPC or DCPL or anybody. They must appreciate the reality of the problem and see. So I will not take much of the time, sir, of all of you. Since all about the product, I don't want to take much, because all of you are going to discuss, and whatever valuable inputs we get from you, we will also try to implement in our. With these words, I thank all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your address. It was very, very enlightening and specific and to the point. May I now call upon Mr. Manoj Chakravarti, MD ECS Consultants Private Limited, to deliver his address and to take this session forward from here. Mr. Chakravarti. Sir, you are muted, I suppose.
Good afternoon. Can you hear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
You are audible now.
So I think it's a very important and very burning issues and topic ICC has selected, and it is mainly in the scenario of present situation, whether EPC, what should be the functional norms of EPC, how EPC can work successfully, what should be the important parameters when we consider EPC. But when industrialization or any industry comes, there are two groups coming. One is basically who will be responsible for engineering, procurement, and construction. Before engineering, procurement, of construction, another group comes into picture, that is called technologist. Technologists select the technology based on the requirement of the area or the nation's requirement. There are various process, various industry, and accordingly various technologies are there to take care of various needs of various industry. But when technology will be decided, they will also have certain responsibility like environment. They will have certain responsibility like sustainability. They will have certain responsibility where availability of resources are concerned. So once the technology based on these are selected or decided, then the picture comes to engineering. Engineering does the engineering activities, and then based on the engineering and the technological requirement, procurement action used to take place. Whilst doing the procurement action, while selecting the equipments or selecting the processes, definitely a lot of parameters are considered. One of them is mostly which considers sustainability and energy consumption. Everybody is now moving towards one thing, that is the energy. This energy also gives a lot of impact on the environment. So things are basically a cycle. If I consider, if I can maintain a very good energy level, I can save my environment. If I cannot, definitely my energy requirement goes high, my environment pollution and other things, deterioration of the environment will become more and more. So then based on this, the procurement action is to take place. And now comes to construction. There are also construction time. There are many parameters are there which the construction companies they used to take care. And while taking care of this thing, again they used to take care about the environment. That how the environment can be protected and the construction activities can be carried out. So all these things are definitely have a great contribution towards the success of a big, big project completion where the role of EPC is one of the major. And I would put today's discussion, we will be carrying out with the EPC things. When we talked about the EPC, means a company who is undertaking the EPC contract has to have the various rather strength in various areas. One of the greatest strength the company should have, that is the engineering strength. If the company, EPC company has got its own engineering strength, definitely they will able to cope up with the various problems what people are anticipating, and subsequently at the time of procurement also they used to come out successfully, because engineering, procurement and installation or construction, every step the engineering will be coming, because even in procurement engineering is to come. We do a lot of engineering, we do a lot of things in a very perfect manner, but we will find when it is getting installed or constructed, certain things are not matching, certain things are not coming as per your engineering. Then the decision which has to come to get rid of the situation which is not uncommon, that decision one can easily get rid of if he has got a proper strength of engineering. Because guy who is doing the engineering, the group or the company who is doing the engineering, what for he is doing the engineering? To achieve the some end results. And for this engineering, they are doing it to satisfy the technology. And once technology is satisfied through the engineering, then my end result also will be satisfied. I am not going to the problem at a large, because everywhere the problem will be there, problem was there, problem is there, and problem will be there. But the problem what we had faced in last 2 years, that is of course not a normal problem, that is a tremendously very acute problem, and the effect of that problem till now, the not only the contractor, every sphere of life, we are feeling that problems. So how, so this scenario we will have to accept, and with this scenario, how the contracting, EPC contracting will go for the good of the society, for the good of the country, for the good of the nation, we will be throwing some lights on that those areas. And today I am telling, at one point of time when the industrialization was not too much, we have not thought of EPC. Today, when the industrialization is coming, it is coming from big to bigger, bigger to biggest, then we are also considering the need of EPC. So, in one word, I feel the experts, lot of experts are there who will throw light. In one word, we can tell EPC will definitely fruitful or useful for the big or bigger projects. And now we will concentrate on the big or bigger projects where EPC will be coming out from engineering. And in between, I'm talking one parameter, that is the manufacturing, then procurement, and finally construction. And I hope that in all the areas, the company who are strong, they will be coming out successful. And basic thing what the company has to see that engineering is very, very sound. And number two is resource, availability of resource also should be there. Even if the engineering is good, availability of resource is not there, it will be difficult for the company to cope up with the space or cope up with the requirement or to reach or to accomplish the goal of the company. So with this, I've tried to explain about the need of EPC and what are the parameters coming in EPC. We have with us uh, four experts, I should say, knowledgeable person. One is Mr. Pratik Dattoroy. He is the Chief Engineering Manager of Larsen Toubro, who are handling a lot of EPC projects. Mr. Pankaj Karmakar, I think he is from Icon Industries. If I'm and having a very sound and big experience, then Mr. Amitabh Sood, the Managing Director Operation of Aircon Limited, and he was also the ex-national president of Indian Society of Heating, Refrigerating and Air Conditioning Engineers. We have also with us Mr. Pallav Kaur. He is the All India Sales Manager of, I think Pallav is the All India Sales Manager for Greenec Industries. And this Greenec is one of the best manufacturing industry in the globe. So globally, it's the American company, and they have set up the factory in near very close to Noida. Very close to, I think, close to Haryana.
Yeah, we are in the state of Haryana.
Ah. And this is the most modern and unique company of fan manufacturing, damper manufacturing, and all these things, which are world class and globally they are, you can say, number one in their field. And how they are controlling, we can have also some ideas, and how they are coping up with the requirement, that we can have some ideas from Pallav. To start with, I would request Mr. Pankaj Karmakar to explain or to say a few words about his perception about this EPC contracting. Mr. Karmakar, I will request you to make it within 10 minutes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chakraborty. And I welcome all the participants as well as the delegates. And on behalf of Icon Engineers Private Limited, I thank all of you. And in fact, we are the manufacturer of voltage regulators, high voltage. Of course, low voltage is there, but high voltage up to 66 kV. But my equipments are meant for usually for efficient running of the total your contracting of the total plant. Now we started our manufacturing activities some 45 years back, and right at the moment we have two units, one at Calcutta, one at Faridabad, Haryana. Now, how do I really get myself aligned with this subject? That I think I should, to some extent, I should explain. You see, any project, any EPC contracting there will be some electrical equipments, not only some, most of the electrical equipments will be there. And those electrical equipments are supposed to work efficiently. Now, how do we make uh, electrical equipments run efficiently unless otherwise we supply them the rated voltage? There, we contributed a lot because the type of voltage regulator we manufacture is with infinite taps. Unlike on-load tap changers, there are steps. But in our voltage regulating system, there is no steps like that. It is infinite steps, and so there is it is quite smooth. As well as it can handle power up to 20 MV. So in most of the projects, I think if we have to make the project run efficiently, see, installing the project and the total engineering, let us say we are procuring something which is very supposed to be very efficient and really effective. Even then, if we are not in a position to supply the right voltage or the specified voltage, then I don't think, I don't think means electrically it is not possible for the machine to run efficiently. Now, in course of our manufacturing activity, we have also developed a unique product, that is the same product which is correcting the HT voltage. That means input side is usually fluctuating in most of the areas you will find it, especially in this third world. So our one unique product is there, we call it HT automatic voltage regulator along with transformer. That means it is inbuilt, transformer is inbuilt, and then it can correct the HT incoming voltage also. Now, for example, let us say there is a machine of some plant is there which is of 5,000 kVA capacity, and its rated voltage is, you can say is 415 volts, and input is 33 kV. So I think in India, in most of the supply systems are not that, you can say, it supplies the quality voltage because of various reasons, because of local problem. Then there are so many things, and basically most of the supply systems are run by electricity authority. So they are not in a position to, as per our experience goes for last 45 years, we have not seen any place as such. At least up to 33 kV, we have seen that there is always voltage fluctuation. And in some of the places, voltage in lower side, it goes as low as 60%, and in higher side, it goes as high as 20-25%. So this wide range, if it fluctuates, then whatever machines or whatever plant this as per EPC has been planned, it doesn't really function properly. Then the customer has got backup supply with generator and all, and that cannot be the solution. So here we come into this picture and try to resolve their problem. Now, these regulators, why these regulators are unique? You see, any voltage correction if you do, it is 100% sure that you have to follow certain this thing, certain steps. But we are actually manufacturing this unit as per Brico. Brico means there was a company in UK, Brentford Electric. They were manufacturing stepless on-load voltage regulator. There are several types of voltage regulators. There are guarantee type, the coil type. But this Brico, you see, anything you manufacture, it has to be cost effective as well as it has to have quality system so far as electrical engineering is there. So these Brico type, this is Brentford Electric, it was there in Raleigh, Sussex, and we were earlier there. So from there, we gathered the knowledge of doing the voltage regulation engineering, and then we started our own unit in India. So basically, whenever there is a voltage change, the change will be sensed by a simple relay. That means this is from the set value, it has gone to 2% higher or 3% higher or 5% higher. Then it will ask a servo motor to operate, and because of the size of the equipment of 5,000 kVA, 10,000 kVA and all, so naturally it is not like ordinary voltage stabilizer that small motors and all. That mechanical side is also quite big. But the beauty of the thing is that if you analyze in your this thing, the total wave shape, there is no steps, there is no jerk. That means there are turns, over the turns, the rolling contact will move, and then that rolling contact will correct the voltage, and there is a bulb boost system. There are certain power circuits are there, and with that circuit, we are in a position to have stabilized voltage in the HT side. Now, with our transformer with inbuilt HT now fluctuation of the HT is the input. Then at the output side, whatever the required voltage, let us say 33/11 system is there, or 33/415 system is there, or 11 kV to 415 system is there. So at the output end, you get whatever the output, rated output voltage, you get plus minus 1%. Now, if the plant is supplied with this plus minus 1% voltage, even it can be made 0.5, but the life of the equipment gets reduced if you get below plus minus 1%, means then the servo system will be working most of the time. Anyway, that is one plus minus 1% for any plant. I think any equipment is in a position to take up that, and it runs efficiently as per the designed parameters, isn't it? So basic aim is to make the total thing run with good efficiency. Otherwise, there are a lot of problem customers will face. First is wear and tear, then because of the voltage problem, it will it will not function. It will not be in a position to take the torque or desired work. It cannot do. So that way, I think this high power HT AVR along with a transformer, this the unit we have, we started this built-in unit we started in 1992, and it is picking up like anything because earlier people used to take HTAVR. Okay, HTAVR means okay, they were input voltage fluctuation, and then let us say 33 kV fluctuation. Then output they were getting 33 kV plus minus 1%, and they were supplying to their transformer. Now, you see, there will be more junctions. That means in the HTAVR, you are having an HT junction. Then after the HTAVR output also there will be junction. Then transformer will have an HT junction. So to avoid that, in one unit itself, HT input, just like ordinary transformer, HT input, and whatever the output, 11 kV or LT, whatever the specified voltage the transformer is supposed to work or the plant wants, that is supplied. So basically, I think we are playing a very vital part, vital role rather, that that will really make the total project run efficiently. That is the thing, and that way I think it will save a lot of money also. Otherwise, earlier I think most of the plants were designed with some specified voltage and all those, because electrical machines are, I think, the main thing, heart of the total project. So ultimately, the supply system is not of quality. So ultimately, it leads to a lot of problem, loss, as well as you can say not that efficient total system. So I think in that line we are trying our level best to see that we bring an order in the total system, because one thing is sure, these utility supply authorities, I don't think at least for another 10-15 years they will be in a position to manage the show in such a way so that this problem of quality voltage will not be there. So that way, for our country, I think it is a must, and our power requirement is also going up. So we are also going in for higher sizes. Right at the moment, we are in the level of 15 MVA, high voltage this thing. But we expect that by another 1 year or 1.5 years, we'll be reaching up to 20 MVA and all. And of course, this will give us a competitive edge in other countries also, where especially neighboring countries like Bangladesh, Nepal, and other places, they are utility supply voltage system is worse than our type. So that way, I think we are in a position to really try to make things run better, because whatever we do, we procure, we make good engineering, and we select good plant, good machines, even very good, let us say, foreign machines, because there are some projects where people go in for very sophisticated machines, which in India we don't manufacture, because anyway we are a developing country. So from developed countries, we are buying it for our plants and all. But unless otherwise, these machines are supplied with the right specified voltage. Uh, I don't think but a basic purpose is served properly. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Karmakar.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Karmakar, for nicely explaining the need of steady supply and good supply for operation of a efficient system. We will again take you back, and now I will request another gentleman who has the very good idea about the EPC contracting, and he is the member of one of the leading EPC contracting company of our country, Larsen Toubro, and he is Mr. Pratik Dattorai, who can tell about the need and how EPC companies. I will rather tell Pratik to tell how EPC companies they come forward to cope up with the hurdles of execution as well as engineering. How much engineering is required? How much engineering is really called for a successful EPC contracting company? Pratik, to take. Hello, Mr. Pratik.
You are audible, but your volume is very, very low. If you can take the microphone closer to your.
I will just.
Yeah,
Is it
now
fine now?
it is better. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So,
it's not much.
Yeah, it's okay now? Fine. Thank you,
Ah.
ICC, and thank you, Manoj Chakraborty, for this introduction. And it always gives me an opportunity to connect with my old Calcutta friends. See, basically, let us all accept that India right now is going through a phenomenal growth phase in terms of large infrastructure projects, which involves significant electromechanical components. I mean, 15 years back, we did have large projects, EPC projects, but they were all like, railways, roads, bridges, infrastructures, where civil used to play a very large component. But if you see last 10, 15 years in our country, when we talk of EPC projects, they are spread across a wide range of verticals, whether it is large public spaces, whether it is high-speed rail, whether it is multimode transport hubs, whether it is redevelopment of railway stations, which is happening all across the country in all our major stations, airports, seaports, data centers, hospitals, medical colleges, you name it. I think the projects have become much more complex in terms of its value, scale, and even the involvement of all the MEP services brings in a new element of coordination issues, HVAC, electrical, ICT and ELV systems, plumbing, firefighting, and not to last but not the least, the thrust on sustainability and green building initiatives. So with all this, actually, we need to relook into the way RFP, your EPC contracts uh, are conceived and they are taken forward. The whole process, starting from the concept design, starting from how we formulate the RFP, the tendering process, the detailed design, GFC, and then manufacturing, ordering, site execution, commissioning, handing over. So it needs to be looked into from a different perspective because of the complexities which are involved in present day large infrastructure projects in our country itself, correct? And we have to bring all the stakeholders together. It is not only the client and the EPC contractor. We have a PMC, we have a design consultant, we have the OEM, the service providers, the statutory authorities. So all need to come together. Now, I think for any successful execution of an EPC contract, uh, we need to start from starts with a clear RFP. You see, some changes during the execution phase are inevitable, but many times when we see that within the RFP, we have got conflicting requirements, clauses like more stringent clause to apply, unclear precedence of documents. As Mr. Srinivas Singh was saying, EPC contracts for contractors for various reasons are forced to accept open-ended clauses. Now, all these are detrimental to the cause of on-time completion of projects within its cost budget and desired quality and performance levels. You see, change management provisions, because I think all of us will agree that in a large EPC complex contract, changes will happen. But when a change happens, how it is to be dealt? Is it clearly specified in the contract? Is it fair to all the participants who form this contract? I think all these issues needs to be dealt with, and FIDIC guidelines are way forward very easily, clearly. We all talk about it, but as a forum, I think we have not been able to ensure that all the large contracts, they follow the FIDIC guidelines. So ICC, forums like ICC can play a major role in ensuring that all contracts are made as per FIDIC guidelines. Another thing, again, it was talked about earlier, that most of the contracts are in a very one-sided way, heavily lobbed or designed against the EPC contractors. So we need to come out of this. Another important way forward can be, moving away from only cost-based L1 mode of contract finalization to a QCBC based, which is quality and cost based, where typically 40 to 60% of your overall marks for a particular bidder is assessed based on a technical competency or the technical offer which is submitted, and the balance 40 to 60% can be on price. Now, this is how some of the key contracts have been executed in the country, and it happens worldwide. So this is also can be looked into as a way forward. Another suggestion which I have is to make our EPC contracts much more performance and function oriented rather than prescriptive mode. If you see most of the contracts which we execute today, even when we are executing 100% design build contract, there are too many detailed specifications which are provided, which are often contradictory to one another, and sometimes they even end up specifying or restricting the available make, because something has been copied from somewhere which only one manufacturer can give. So these are the things which can be dealt with very efficiently if we go to a performance or a functional based contracting and not a prescriptive based contracting. Another key aspect of EPC contract in today's world is adapting to digital technologies. Now, we tell a lot, and significant improvement has happened. Digitalization, like implementation of BIM technologies. Now, BIM, it's very common. Most of the large infrastructure projects which we are seeing, the basic coordination of the various services is happening through BIM. But today, a BIM platform gives us some more, I will say, arms and ammunitions, which is beyond only 3D coordination. We can actually do the cost budgeting. We can do the time scheduling. And today, we have ways of putting information in the model so that the entire operation and maintenance of the whole facility can be scheduled, monitored, even spare parts can be ordered from the BIM platform. So gone are the days we can actually look to a future where after the project is completed, it takes months and sometimes years to do the as-built documentation and all the O&M manuals and what we are used to. So the whole project can be actually handed over to the customer as a digital twin in the form of a fully loaded BIM model. Also, we need to move towards more mechanization, more use of prefabrication. So all this will make EPC contracting a little bit easier and a little bit more timely. Completion will be on time, and it will help us, realize the performance objectives and the functional objective of the project. And just to conclude, I would like to say that finally, for our EPC contract to be successful, all its stakeholders need to have a congruency in what they want. whether it is the customer, whether it is the PMC, whether it is the EPC contractor, the statutory guys, the PMCs, the external design consultants. Now, this will not come just through wishful thinking. The whole RFP and the tendering process needs to be designed in a way so that this congruency of goal is achieved. So I thought, these are few of my thoughts on how we can make EPC contracting a much more efficient process for our country. Thank you. Thank you, Manoj.
Thank you, Pratik. I have got one specific thing to ask. That do you feel, from your experience, that EPC contracting has minimum magnitude of something?
Not really. See, Manoj, to be very practical, even a 1-story, 1,000 square feet building can also be given in a EPC contracting mode. And if you really see the market, most of the small buildings actually follow an EPC contracting mode. May not be in its strict sense, but typically you will get hold of one person and tell them, please build the house. But coming to larger projects, bigger projects, yes, EPC contracting does provides few advantages to the customer. I will say first is the design coordination responsibility between all the various elements lies with one person. Okay, now it doesn't mean that that person will have to have all these services in house, which many of the companies may not have, but that's a separate thing to evaluate for the customer. That particular EPC contractor may always tie in with designers for providing the backend design support. But if the detailed design is done by consultants engaged by the customer and the contractor is the third party, obviously there will be issues with respect to coordination, with respect to change management, and it depends upon the situation where the contractor will be able to take advantage or the customer will be able to take advantage. But at the end of the day, it may not be fair. So for large projects, yes, EPC gives advantages with respect to accountability, with respect to single point responsibility, with respect to clear, I will say, responsibility for design coordination. So it definitely has an advantage, which possibly a smaller scale project a customer can manage this interdisciplinary coordination. But as the projects become large and complex, it becomes increasingly difficult for the customer to handle it. So that way, EPC contracting definitely helps.
But this, what you are told these things mainly for the infrastructure project. When you come to an industrial project, there definitely you will have to have another agency to coordinate. That agency is the technologist agency.
Manoj, Mr. Chakraborty, you're absolutely right. And that is the reason we have a term, we call it balance of plant. In large, industrial project, there is a technology provider, correct? Suppose you are making a car manufacturing unit. So there is somebody who will build the entire assembly line where the car is built piece by piece, bit by bit, and finally it gets assembled and rolled over. So that's one part, the technology provider. But the balance infrastructure, which is the building, the shade, the gantries, the lighting, the power distribution, HVAC, plumbing, firefighting, all this, okay, the foundations for the equipment, the power supply, the data connectivity, all this, we typically call it as a balance of plant, BOP. Now that BOP can be on an EPC mode. I hope I have clarified you.
Right. And anyway, thank you very much. But you will be again taken into the group.
Sure.
Don't leave. And you have given a very good idea about the various problems or what is the benefits and all. And people have a general idea about the project execution through EPC contracting and what is the good and bad and what is the problem. Everything people have some idea from your practical experience because you are handling, I believe, a lot of big EPC contracting like airports and all these things. And anyway, Pratik, you'll be there Now, I think we have with us Mr. Pallab Kaur, who is who is representing one of the world-renowned manufacturing organization. So, when we are discussing about EPC, the role of manufacturing company, how that will be fitting in, and how the requirements of the project is taken care by a manufacturing company with quality. I want some idea or some experience of Pallab in this regard. So over to Pallab.
Yeah. Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
That's right. Can you see my screen? Is my screen visible?
Yes, Pallab, we can see that.
Okay, thank you. So I would first of all, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you. And I'm of course honored to be part of this panel, and I would be sharing with you my thoughts on with respect to manufacturing quality control. And manufacturing quality control would of course include many things that we do in order to ensure that we make the products meeting the global standards. I think both Dr. Singh and Mr. Srinivasan Singh also spoke about the importance of India as a destination, and Dr. Singh also referred to about the China plus one strategy and how India can take an important role. So therefore, I think one of the most important things today is that the products that we manufacture in India truly meet the global standards. So quality control definitely is a big thing. So I will roll on with my presentation. So my presentation, I have a few breakups. One is the introduction, of course, a little definition on quality and quality perspectives, a discussion on need and awareness, and I'll talk about principles and practices, and then I'll present a case study, and that case study will be specific to our organization. And of course, if we have time, we'll have a little bit of Q&A. So quality management is a philosophy and a set of guiding principles for continuously improving the organization. It is the application of quantitative methods and human resources to improve all the processes within an organization and exceed customer needs now and in the future. So the basic fundamentals of quality, I just wanted to understand or just lay it in front of us for the discussion. So the TQMs, the total quality management in manufacturing actually is divided into two broad aspects. One is the principles and practices that is further broken down into leadership, customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, continuous improvement, supplier partnership, and performance measures. The other aspect of it is the tools and techniques that are used for improvement of manufacturing technology, I mean quality, both quantitative and non-quantitative. And we are not discussing that in today's forum because this would take a long time. So I'll move on to my other part of my presentation. So first, let us define what is quality. The totality of features and characteristics of a product or service that bears on its ability to satisfy given needs. Now, that is the ANSI definition, the American National Standard Institutes and the American Society for Quality's definition on quality. But as a common man, what do we understand? We understand that quality is customer satisfaction, quality is fitness for use. We'll try and explore this in a little bit more detail. Show its images. Just a minute, I have a little issue in changing of the screen. Yeah, I think it's working now. So there is another aspect of quality, what is called the quality perspective. Now, in terms of quality perspective, there are three broad perspectives that we often have. One is called the judgmental perspective. Now, for example, when we buy a Rolex watch or a Lexus car, there's a goodness of product that's already built into our mind. But when we look into maybe a differentiate between a Sony Bravia TV television or a Samsung QLED television, then the function of a specific measurable value, I mean a variable, that differences in quality reflect difference in the quality of the product attribute. So therefore, we get into the analysis of the measurable variable of that product. So that's what we call a product-based perspective. And the third is what we are concerned about here. That's the manufacturing-based perspective. People spoke about specifications, and we are speaking about EPC contracts. So that is more of engineering specifications, and that is desirable outcome of an engineering and manufacturing practice. So our discussion today is more on manufacturing-based perspective rather than the other two kinds of perspective. Now we get into the details of the various principles and practices that ensures the quality model of an organization. First and foremost is the leadership. Now, the characteristics of the quality leaders of the organization depends or can be addressed in terms of the priority attention they give to the internal as well as the external customers, the empowerment that is given to the subordinates, the emphasis on improvement rather than maintenance, the focus on prevention, the encouragement of collaboration in the work that we do, training and coaching, creating an atmosphere of mentoring. So that these are the characteristics that ensures the quality movement in an organization. Now, the second most important point is customer satisfaction. Now, what is customer satisfaction? Now, customer satisfaction is meeting customers' need with the products the manufacturer has with him. So what are the questions that comes when we try to meet the customer satisfaction? Or when I'm developing or manufacturing a product that meets or is supposed to be meeting the customer's needs? So the question the organization is asking itself is, am I able to meet this because due to the product quality that I'm giving? Or is it due to my pricing strategy? Or is it the good customer service that I'm extending with the product? Or again, is it due to company reputation? So is it something more? So this is an answer that an organization must have in order to be able to meet the customer's requirement, not only today, but also in the future. There's another important aspect is, and we often say that, we know that the customer is the king, but is the customer always right? Of course, I am not talking today in perspective of the other commercial conditions which other speakers have spoken. My understanding is, while the customer requirements may be translated into product requirements and constraints, the other stakeholder requirements are only translated into constraints because if the customer requirements were to be removed, there will be no activity upon which to apply the constraint. So the customer's requirements are foremost in our minds when we are trying to develop something or cater something or manufacture something. So it might be argued here that in the theory, the customer is always right. Therefore, even if the customer makes a demand that cannot be satisfied without compromising corporate values, the organization has no option but to satisfy that demand. In reality, however, organizations can choose to accept or not accept demands that compromise their values or the constant of other stakeholders, particularly those concerning the environment, health, safety, and national security. So, in the mind of a manufacturing organization, when it is providing a service to the customer, both in terms of product and delivering the product, the question that can come up in its mind is that I have to also protect the other stakeholder interests. Then comes the other important thing, employee satisfaction. An organization, in order to provide quality products and services to a customer, can only be successful if his employees are happy, if his employees are motivated. So employee involvement is one approach to improve quality and productivity. Its use is credited for contributing to the success enjoyed with the Japanese in the market. So we all know that post the Second World War, the Japanese Industrial Revolution, and the way they took over the world, one of the greatest attribute of that is the fantastic motivation they were able to bring into the entire Japanese nationalism, as we'd call it. So motivation, of course, is a very important aspect. Knowledge of motivation helps us to understand the utilization of employee involvement to achieve process improvement. If employee improvement and process improvement are not in sync, then even the motivation fails to give results. And last and not the least, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. An employer in an organization, in order to drive a motivated group of people, always had to ensure that the hierarchy of needs to be addressed. Continuous improvements. Again, a very big Japanese concept, I would say. But why is continuous improvement so important? Because quality is not a stable journey. Quality needs to be reviewed, feedback needs to be taken and incorporated. And that would ensure that you continue to improve. So we must strive to achieve perfection by continuously improving the business and production processes. We continuously improve how? Viewing all work as a process, whether it is associated with the production or business activity. Production is the maybe your person or your worker who is producing the product in the factory, but the business activities associated with it, the logistics, the invoicing, the other aspect of business, that also has to be in line, in sync. Excuse me. Then only we'll be able to deliver more effectively and efficiently. One has to anticipate the changing customers' needs. That's a very big and important thing for an organization which is committed towards quality. Tomorrow's needs has to be understood today, analyzed today, and implemented tomorrow. Then only we'll be able to be in a position to deliver. And that is also a function of the continuous improvement process. Controlling in process performance using measures such as scrap reduction, cycle time reduction, a concept in value engineering. Continuously, we need to do this in order to ensure that we cut down cost and we are able to deliver more efficiently and by reducing the time for development of the product. The other aspect is, see, in the process of making a product, I have here a block diagram, but any organization has its own cycle of a product produced. The input, the processing, the output, the outcomes, and a continuous feedback mechanism. These are the fundamental features. An organization which has this in place obviously would definitely go on improving on its product quality. And in the processes, I can further add is that in addition to input and output, a process must have value-added activities. So any activity that doesn't add value to the process needs to be addressed, probably eliminated. And the other important aspect of quality that I always keep on talking about is repeatability. If you give me n number of days to make a product, I will definitely build the best product. Maybe it will be as good as a classic product, but that is not what it is. My system should be capable of developing and manufacturing the same quality product repeatedly. Then only I can be sure that my manufacturing process ensures that it is not subjected to the feeling that the workman is having on a given day. So the product quality will be same. Every product, any product you pick up from my assembly line, you will have the same quality. It must adhere to certain conditions imposed by policies and contract or regulations. That's a compliance issue from various aspects, from the contract that you have with the people to whom you supply, to the nation, to the country, to the local bodies, everything. Customer defines the purpose of the organization and every process is within it. Organization exists to serve customer. Process improvements must be defined in terms of increased customer satisfaction. Again, a very important part of continuous improvement. Customers' needs keep on changing, and one has to adapt to that. Frequently, the process will cross multiple organization boundaries, and supporting sub-processes will be owned by individuals. Again, another very important aspect in the process of quality improvement. So the continuous improvement, the 5 basic ways are reduce resources, reduce errors, meet or exceed expectations of downstream customers, make the process safer. Safety a very big concern in any manufacturing process. Make the process more satisfying to the person doing it. I'll not get into the more details on this. I will be just skipping this part. And I'll go to the another aspect, another important aspect is supplier and supplier partnership. Now, for an organization to be able to efficiently deliver products, it depends on suppliers. In most of the cases, more than 50% of the products are, the 50% of the components of the products are outsourced. So the raw materials and the various components are taken from suppliers. So supplier quality needs to be substantially improved in order to ensure the process. For example, those who are referring to automobile industries, you would know how much the automobile depends on the quality of the products that come in from the vendors. So you need to work with your supplier in a partnering atmosphere to achieve the same quality level. Because if he is not able to deliver every component with the same quality and reliability that you had agreed upon or you have committed upon, then your ultimate outcome suffers. Customer and supplier has limited resources and must work together to maximize the return on investment and for industrial products. So as a part of the partnering concept, a long-term commitment between the two or more organizations for the purpose of achieving specific business goals and objectives are very essential. Relationships built upon trust, dedication to goals and objectives, understanding of each other's expectation and value. For example, if I'm building a product, as I am dependent on my vendors to supply me the other components, which can be anything from motors to bearings to anything, which I don't make. At the same time, I am the supplier to various EPC contractors. So for them to deliver value to their customers, deliver quality products and quality outcomes or committed outcomes to their customer, maintain the time constants, partnership and relationships are very important. And long-term commitment is also another key factor in this. Performance measures. They say you cannot improve what you cannot measure. So managing an organization without performance measures is like a captain of a ship navigating without a compass. Measures play a vital role in the success or failure of an organization. You need to continuously measure. I'll skip the objectives part of it and I'll get into the typical measurement factors. So the measurement factors can be human resource, customers, production, research development, suppliers, marketing, sale, administration. So all the functionalities that an organization does always needs to be measured. If you don't measure it, you can't improve on it. And the criteria can be various. So all organizations have some measurement standards in place, but they need to evaluate it and new measures need to be taken. So that's very important. So the measurement and the metrics for measurement should be simple so that it's understandable to those who are using it. I should not be using complex metrics so that the people who are working on those, working out those improvements or those KPIs fail to understand that. Otherwise, it means nothing. Important measures must be distinguished from the unimportant ones so that all users can concentrate on just a few. This we'll call the critical few. Maybe you have 10 measurement factors, but you might have 2 or 3 critical few, and you need to focus on them. So that's a very important thing in the measurement tool. The other factors, like it should be developed by the users. Yes, those who do it, they know how to improve the process. So they are the one who should be deciding on the metrics of improvement. Relevance to customers, it should be relevant to the needs of both the internal as well as the external customers. Cost should reflect the cost and profit, like cost of poor quality and cost of measurement. There is a large cost attributed to poor quality, so that should also be measured. Measures should be used to promote improvement, not to identify poor performance and penalize low performers. So this should not be a tool to identify who is not able to deliver or which process is falling short. This should be a tool to improve on it. So in terms of the criteria, I would say they should be visible, they should be timely, they should be aligned. The measures need to be guided and balanced by the interest of all stakeholders. And by all stakeholders, I mean the customers, the employees, and the suppliers. Now, a very interesting concept that always comes up because people have a feeling that quality is costly stuff, but there is a cost of quality. The value of quality must be based on its ability to contribute to the profit as business is measured in terms of money. Business is ultimately for profit, and quality can add to it, it should not be seen as a negative cost, I would say. Cost of poor quality or quality cost can be added to other costs in decision making, including the design, production, and sales. And this I'm talking with reference to the products. Quality costs cross department lines by involving all activities of the organization. And some costs like rework, inspector salary can be easily identified, while costs associated with lost sales and goodwill may be impossible to measure. I'll now give you a small and a brief case study on our organization because that is the process I know well about. So in Greenec, as Mr. Chakrabarti mentioned at the beginning, we are one of the world's largest fan manufacturer, and we have factories in US, Mexico, and India. We have already moved out of China for that matter. So one of the factors, of course, is the compliances standards like the non-quantitative ones like the ISO implementation. Apart from that, the outcomes, we have certifications like CE, UL, and AMCA that ensures that the processes as well as the products can be measured because they have third-party confirmations and certifications. Apart from that, we have the quality assurance program, and that can be divided into 4 distinct parts. One is the incoming inspection process, which includes the vendor survey, vendor evaluation, supplier evaluation, and all that. Then, of course, the process qualities mechanism, the first article, and the roving inspection. The roving inspection, as you all know, picking up samples at random and testing it for its functionality and other things. Then, of course, the outcome of quality process, which is the vibration test, if it is a fan, final inspection, ongoing reliability test, outgoing quality control. And of course, the other quality evaluation like calibration and other quality system audit, etc.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Pallav.
Okay, I have 2 more slides, sir, just 2 more slides. So this is the quality flow chart of the incoming material and then the processes and all that. I'll not dwell on it further, and I'll move on because I think I am running against time. And this is the feedback, and this is, as I told you, is a very important mechanism that every department needs to send a feedback, customer complaints to sales and sales to the management, and this processes should go on. And of course, these are the various objectives of the quality processes, and that's it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Pallav,
sir.
for explaining the success of your company's manufacturing standards and your company's position. And definitely it will have a positive impact on the EPC contracting. Anyway, we will discuss certain points afterwards. Now I will tell Mr. Amitabh Sur to express salient features of what, as per you, because Mr. Sur is also handling a lot of projects, handling and is a very experienced person. So what is the main features or for EPC contracting as per your experience?
Thank you, Mr. Chakrabarti, and thank you, ICC, for inviting me to this platform and allowing me to share my thoughts. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I think we have been extensively discussing the aspects of EPC contracts and the relevance of it in the growing scenario of the industrial growth that we are going to see. As we have heard from the previous speakers, that it's now very relevant, and we will definitely see more and more EPC contracts, because obviously from the buyer's perspective, the buyer would like to have a single point of responsibility, which is the most important aspect of an EPC contract. But we are also seeing that the demography of EPC contracting in India is changing. I think Prateek has briefly touched on it. I mean, in the previous years, we had seen that EPC contracting was restricted to only government contracts. It was restricted to a kind of a turnkey project, which one contracting company would be taking and kind of implementing it from scratch to kind of commissioning. Today, we are seeing that EPC contracting is also getting divided. It's coming into sub baskets because the gamut of the projects are more, the number of projects are more, and hence the the need of kind of breaking it into smaller EPCs have come, and it's working fine. I would say that it's really working fine. The kind of texture is still EPC. It's still kind of, whichever contractor is taking, whether it's an electromechanical contractor or a civil contractor, they take it from from the engineering stages, and that's one big advantage from the contracting point of view also, that you have the freedom. You have the freedom of doing your own engineering. Of course, you need to have the capability. You need to have the understanding of the client's requirement, because end of the day, you have to deliver what the client needs. And therefore, that engineering capability, I think, which Mr. Manoj Chakravarti spoke in his keynote address, is very, very important for any kind of EPC contracting company to become successful, or to get some reputation. Now, the freedom is there. Of course, it comes with a lot of responsibility. From the client's perspective, it's a kind of a very, very I would say advantageous situation, because you select one or a couple of contractors, or maybe a bunch of contractors, depending on the size and the extent of the project, and you give the responsibility to the contractor right from the designing to kind of execution, procurement, everything, and commissioning, which is a very important aspect of any project, and a bit neglected also. When I'll touch that when I come to it. So this is where it looks pretty rosy, but actually the unfortunate part is that the experience that we carry, you have seen the contractors who are present in this forum have expressed, and it's not that because I'm also a contractor I'm sharing this, but it's a fact that today in India, the EPC contracts are a bit lopsided, heavily weighed towards the buyer, which eventually is not a very good sign. This needs to change, because with the modernization of industrial growth, with the changing pattern of how we deliver projects today, I think every stakeholder should be equally responsible to deliver and commission a project. Now that's where comes the biggest challenge, because even today, there are very few projects where we see that all the stakeholders actually come together and sit on a kind of a design table to design the project. The biggest advantage that we want to derive from an EPC project is that all your services will be coordinated. But eventually we see that when we execute the project, it doesn't happen like that, because even an EPC contractor, they subcontract different different aspects of the project. For example, like in electromechanical, I'll say that the EPC contractor will appoint somebody who will be doing only air conditioning, somebody who will be doing only fire, somebody who will be doing the plumbing and the automation part and all that. And therefore, the advantage of coordinated construction drawings, which of course today is far easier with the BIMs and things available, but then somebody will have to seriously work on it to kind of get a coordinated drawing given to the contractor to kind of, or made for the the final coordination made and given to the subcontractors rather for execution, where we still see a gap. I mean, we still see that, yes, an EPC contractor, though they are taking the responsibility of executing the project with coordinated design, but sometimes we face challenges when we see that the subcontractors are finding drawings where services are still kind of, coming and colliding with each other. So these are certain areas where we need to qualify and gain more experience and become more kind of conscious, so that we don't do this, because we have to remember the essence of an EPC contract, or the focus of an EPC contract from the client's perspective, as well as for the benefit of the contractor, is what we say TCQ, which is time, cost, and quality. And all these things are very interrelated, because if time overrun is there, then there will be cost overrun. And if there is a cost overrun, obviously there will be tendencies of compromising the quality. So as we see that we go through the thing, that we have seen that these are pretty interrelated. Now, when we talk of time, there's a huge responsibility on the client's part also, as you've seen that already. Dr. Singh has touched on this, and we have seen that Mr. Srinivas Singh also has spoken about that. What are the client's responsibility when it comes to kind of delivering the base for starting the project to the EPC contractor? So there are some challenges and there are some advantages. I can keep on talking of this, but I'm seeing that we are running out of time, and therefore I would like to stop here, because we have heard from other speakers about the advantages that we have in the EPC contracts. It is definitely the way forward for large contracts, and as we go forward, we are seeing that even smaller contracts are today given on EPC basis, and the responsibility of the contractor is immense, because the contractor is carrying the risk. They're giving the guarantee. They are actually coming up and doing the commissioning of the project, which ultimately delivers the requirement of the client. Now, coming to commissioning, which I wanted to touch upon, is that when we talk of EPC, we talk of engineering, we talk of procurement, construction, which are the words of EPC. But then also, let's not forget that all this can ultimately give what we want if this is properly commissioned. My experience is that in a project, the commissioning is something which is the most neglected part. We do it in a hurry, we do not coordinate it, and therefore when we see that the end result is we are not achieving the design that we wanted to achieve, which is very important when we talk of today's perspective of sustainability. When we talk of that, where we want to reach in terms of conserving energy and making the projects slim, thin in terms of energy conservation and sustainability. So that's where I will rest my case, Mr. Chakravarti. I think if you have any specifics for me, I can address that.
Thank you very much, Amitavo. You have briefly touched upon everything, but now what you have told, commissioning, yes, people are very much careful about commissioning. That commissioning is not a systemized commissioning. Supposing in industry, when I am commissioning a plant, there my contract is made very clear that this should be my production, annual production is this much. For this, achieving for this, I will be spending this much of energy. All these parameters are stipulated. If the parameters, one parameter is not achieved, that means my project is not commissioned. Maybe my project is running, but my project is not commissioned, and EPC contractor will be penalized. This is normally, actually it is happening. And I am telling you, these things are mostly happening for the steel plants, steel industries. If you go, which is a maximum vast industries, there you will find these type of things are happening. Anyway, thanks everyone for successfully completion of the first half. And now I will be asking each very small questions, and that is actually included in our group discussion sort of thing. And I will start with, let us start with Amitavo. I will start with you. And EPC contract is a very complex. So with this complexity, how you will bind the contractor? Say if you are a owner, or if you are the user, how you will bind your EPC contractor? Because EPC contractor may not be responsible for everything. There may be a part, you have rightly told, where the this thing, or I should say technology is coming, technological part is one, and engineering procurement part is another. So briefly, within 2-3 minutes time, if you can tell, if possible, that what is the binding clauses a user can put on the contractor?
Well, you see, traditionally, there are a lot of bindings on a contractor, starting from, the performance back guarantees that a contractor would have to give, or the performance guarantees end of the day after commissioning, that today we are seeing in many projects that customers are putting the conditions of the commissioning and the results end of the day. And there are penalties on that. But I would like to view it in a different way, Mr. Chakravarti. I mean, if we really want to see a project successful, we should start stop discriminating between a contractor or a technologist, a designer, or a project owner, because all are equally important in the project to become successful, and all have to play their part. Therefore, I would say that if you're talking of contract binding, yes, obviously there will be contract binding which is embedded in the contract, which will have the time frame, which will have the liquidated damage clause, the penalty clauses, the guarantees that are linked with it, all that are there. But in true sense, if you would like a project to get successful, then all the stakeholders would have to share the responsibility. And that will only happen when they start working from day zero, when a project starts together. It's because it has to be a kind of a cohesive, coordinated work. And then the question of binding somebody doesn't come, because the ownership, the responsibility, the sense of responsibility is there. And each one of these stakeholders start thinking that it is my project. So that's the beauty or the success of a project getting, end of the day getting successfully rolled out. That is where it lies.
That means,
I believe.
that means for achieving the same, I think you are hinting at integrated project planning is very much essential, isn't it?
Absolutely. You took the word. Actually, I was hunting for this word, so you got the right word. The integrated approach. That is what is required.
Integrated project planning. Thank you, Amitabh, for explaining. Now I am asking Mr. Kormokar
Yes.
a very layman's question.
Yes.
That is, in India, in our country, all these projects are coming and all where your organization is taking one of the very, very important and the key role. But sometimes I feel why our power quality is so bad.
Yes. That is the right question. In fact, see, first thing is that authorities in our country tries to pass on their responsibility to others. So let us say utility supply authorities, they are supposed to really plan things in such a way so that the total power supply quality should be as good as possible, isn't it? You cannot make 100% quality supply. Okay, but there has to be a reasonable quality, isn't it? See, here in India, this first, any project you go there, basically the quality supply is the main thing. Unless otherwise you have the quality supply, you cannot expect the total project will run efficiently, as well as it will be really as per the design, isn't it? It doesn't. But who is taking responsibility? No one is taking responsibility. Only thing is that, as Mr. Su told, that some penalties imposed, this thing, that thing, then a lot of paperwork, things like that, and then somehow or other, okay, this it is his fault, so let us deduct his money like that. That approach has to be changed now. Some sort of, as you said correctly, that integrated approach should be there whenever a project is, see, whenever project is planned at that time, all the stakeholders, not really stakeholder is the basic stakeholder is the user, isn't it? But Basically, I mean, all those who will be involved, let us say the manufacturer, then the consultant, then contractor, civil contractors, all. So many aspects are there. So that some sort of mechanism has to be made in such a way so there has to be some integrated approach. Not that if anything goes wrong, you just blame this fellow as per the penalty clause, this thing, that thing, and he also tries to get out of that somehow or other and manages the thing. But we have to see that ultimately it has to run efficiently and it has to be the best project as far as possible. That approach, we think we should expect from the authorities.
Yes, but as an electrical expert,
Hmm.
what is your opinion about receiving of such type of bad quality power? Where is the problem as per your perception? What do you think?
See, for
Is
any
it a generation problem? It is a transmission problem? Where is the problem lies?
past problem, in my opinion, in my career of near about 55 years, what I have seen, everybody tries to escape or get out of his responsibility and pass it on to others. That is the first thing, is that recognition of the problem. Now, as you are talking about the problem means that recognition itself is not there. I think most of the panelists here, they will agree that that recognition itself isn't there for any this government projects and all. Someone is blaming others, another is blaming others. It is for you, this is happening, that is happening, and everybody is trying to talk so much of engineering, so much of commercial thing. Ultimately, no one is taking the responsibility, and that recognition is not there. Initial stage only, that system has to be there in such a way that they have to recognize that there is fault. Now, this voltage problem, why, when you are planning a distribution system or transmission system, in electrical, everything you can calculate, isn't it? Or in any engineering means at least up to certain extent you can calculate and all. Now, at random they operate, isn't it? Let us say, just for example, I'm telling one substation is there for 20 MVA. Now, I have seen in Madhya Pradesh Electric Board and all, we participated for their proper voltage and all in the substation, that means 33 kV system and all. But ultimately, we found that the total this distribution system, 20 MVA, they are going on supplying everyone without this thing, free electricity and things like that. Ultimately, that total substation is running 20% higher sometimes. Peak load is near about 20% more than this one. And then they start blaming us. Let us say I am the manufacturer of high voltage regulator. They are blaming me that it is your equipment, because of that this is happening. Then let us say, because we supplied a lot of HTAVs there. Then they started telling transformer manufacturer, it is your fault. But they don't understand that whoever you blame, ultimately, who is the loser? Authority is not in a position to supply the right voltage. Once you don't supply, everyone understands in the electrical industries that any electrical system, there is a rated voltage. What is rated voltage? Whoever has designed any machine, electrical machine, he must have considered that this is the supply you have to give. Then only the design values, near about design values will come. Near about means he will have to, it will match his design parameters, isn't it? But they don't even think about that. You discuss with them.
So,
First thing they will try to put the blame on others.
so ultimately we are boiling down. It is we are responsible for this problem, isn't it? But
Actually, I don't think contractors or the vendors are more responsible.
I am not discriminating the vendors or contractors.
Hmm.
I'm just putting all of us under one fraternity.
And the
in
total,
this fraternity, somebody is working as a contractor, somebody is working as a manufacturer, somebody is working as a designer, but we
yes.
are on the same fraternity, so we are responsible. Designer used to blame manufacturer, manufacturer used to blame contractor, contractor used to blame designer. This cycle is going on, isn't it? What do you
Yes.
say?
No, I'm giving you the best example of private users. Let us say one of my client is having 5 MBA power requirement. But, most of the private users nowadays, they are aware of the fact that in that area, there may not be the right quality power supply. They try to, because their hard-earned money or their investment is there, so they take care of that. So they give us, at least from my experience, I have seen they sometimes give us the feedback that this is the situation, and nearby factories. He hasn't started his construction. Before that only, he tries to get information from the places and he gives that.
That is,
But
this integrated planning of a project is a must from the concept stage till commission.
yes.
Thank you, Mr. Kormakar, for your experience and explanation. And now I will tell Pallab one question.
Sir.
For manufacturing and quality control, you have now taken a lead and you are striving hard to keep your position intact. For keeping, I feel that it is a dynamic process. It
Of
is
course. Yes.
you are always striving go up, up, up. And from your experience, from your organizational experience, how much R&D you are involved?
Sir, see, the interesting thing in Greenec is there are two parts to it. One part is the product. There is a research and development, and that's happening on the product. And now our research and development is India centric. So all our product development is happening in India itself. Previously, in when we entered at China, our products were all designed in China, US, and we tried to enter the Chinese market or the market in this region. And we decided, or rather discovered, that it didn't work out. So research and development on the product is now India centric. But that is not, I think, what we are looking here. The most interesting fact in Greenec is the machines that are used to make the Greenec products, to produce the Greenec products, that the manufacturing process machines that are also developed and manufactured by Greenec. So that is a very unique thing that we do. And therefore, since we know the product well, we have combined the manufacturing processes into the machine tools that we are making. And when I'm saying this, I'm not talking about a drill machine or a turret punch machine or a hydraulic machine. I'm talking about the flanger that we are making, the four-axis CNC machine that we are using for making the dampers. So those kind of stuff I'm saying. So since we make our machines in-house, we have a machine development center in United States, and many of the people from India who have been to our factory in United States, you will see that the machines are made there. And therefore, we have been able to combine the manufacturing process. The advantage of this product development and making the own machine is that we are able to install a lot of quality and the reliability in the term of repeatability, as I was trying to mention in my presentation.
Right.
So
That is, I feel,
anybody can make one good product, two good products, but making every product meeting a specific standard is the challenge of the process, and we are extremely proud of that.
good. That may be one of the secret of your success because you are not only giving the end product, you are also taking care the machine. You are also manufacturing the machine by which your end product comes.
Yes.
So that's great, and it's a very good information. Follow.
So,
And now,
anybody of you, if you are traveling and you can come to our factory, which is about 80 kilometers from Delhi airport, you will see what advanced machines that we have, and that will give an idea. So, how many minimum labors they are required, and therefore we are able to install that amount of quality in the processes. So,
okay, thank you, Pallav. Pratik, I will ask a simple question.
Yeah.
As EPC contracting company's person, what is your feeling, your success in EPC? How much it is due to your skill in engineering?
Okay, I think tricky question because I belong to the design team. But since this is a very question specific to my organization, I will also answer very specific to my organization. You see, L&T construction, as we all know it, it has got some 7 verticals and encompassing everything, all various kinds of infrastructure projects you can think of. Now, each of these 7 wings have their own independent, which what we call it as EDRC, Engineering, Design and Research Center. And if you see the structure of our organization as EDRC, the design group, we do not report to the execution team. Okay, so it may be even a very large project, but the design team reports to entirely the top boss of that independent company. And if you see the mandate, what we have as designers is that, it's not that we will go to site or we will design something which is not complying with the specification or the codal requirement, whatever may be the pressure from site. And the key success factor for L&T over the ages has been its design competency. And there are many clients who, in spite of maybe consultant recommended something or something which is they feel it is the right thing to do, once EDRC gives a recommendation that this is right for your project, which meets the functional performance, which meet the codal requirement, more often than not, clients accept it. So I think that is a big thing which our forefathers have achieved, and we are merely reaping the benefits. And we are also trying to ensure that when we fade out and new generations come in the organization, this same respect is created, is maintained. It is already created, it is maintained in the market. So design competency or engineering competency, whatever you may call it, I think is the cornerstone of L&T's success. And we have many patents, all the divisions. It is not only architectural finishing in structure, but from electromechanical services also regularly every year, we file and successfully get some patents and copyrights, which we use in our internal processes for designing, which makes us not only efficient, it also gives us a very optimized solution for the project. And one more thing, if you look at EDRC, we have all the disciplines in-house, whether it is structure, whether it is architecture, whether it is facade, whether it is HVAC, whether it is electrical, whether it is ICT or ELV, firefighting, including green building certification, energy modeling, we all have it in-house. So I think it is really something which we are very proud of, and it has given us good dividends in the market.
And this is what I feel the EPC contracting company should have if they really want to do the job as per the satisfaction of the client. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. And in this, I must, we have tried to give some idea about the EPC contracting, and I should not do justice if today's forum, if I don't mention the name of one lady of ICC who had really worked hard to make this thing successful, she is Shima Sen. Thanks, Shima, for your work and your labor, what you have given. I do not know whether how much we have really accomplished. Anyway, let us see that at least we can tell something we have done. If it was in the zero level, we have brought in the above zero level.
Thank you so much, sir.
And thanks a lot. And now I would request Mr. Dey to run one video for that Capcom. One video for one company's activity.
Thank you, Mr. Chakravarti.
I think it is around a minute, 1 minute. Yeah, Capcom.
Capcom being one of our sponsors, their representative
please.
could not be there. So, just a minute's message from them. Debu, if you can move a little faster, please.
Okay, thank you. And now I think last time, once again, thanking ICC for their very good effort and bringing these problems and discussions to enlighten everyone. Now I would request to take over from me, Mr. Shushanjit Dey. He will be taking over from me. Thank you, Mr. Dey.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chakravarti. Good evening, all. It gives me great pleasure to deliver the closing remarks and formal vote of thanks at the end of this very engaging web session. I take this opportunity to convey my sincere gratitude to Mr. Srinivas Singh, Mr. Manoj Chakravarti, Mr. Pankaj Karmakar, Mr. Amitav Ashur, Mr. Pallab Kar, Mr. Pratik Dattare, and Mr. Vijay. Mr. Vijay Famra is not there, I suppose. Anyways, Mr. Vijay Famra has supported us, for this webinar. I would also like to thank our friends from the media and for widely covering today's session. And my very special thanks to our sponsors, Icon Engineers Private Limited and Capcom India Limited, for their support, which has enabled us to make this a very successful webinar. I think the session enriched us and has provided us with key insights revolving around importance of EPC contracting for execution of large projects. Here, I would like to highlight a few salient points regarding products and services of EPC and turnkey projects, which was discussed during the session. With changing times and economic scenarios, we need to move ahead, and for moving ahead, we need to develop our infrastructures, and for complex and large projects, we have to rely on EPC contracts. Features like single point of responsibility, fixed contract pricing to fixed completion date are some of the key attractions that makes it a reliable service. We all know that the ambitious Gati Shakti initiative, also known as the National Master Plan for Multi-Modal Connectivity Plan, is underway, and it shall include several turnkey projects. Today's session enriched us how the various dynamics of EPC contracting will help in the various aspects of these turnkey projects and will contribute towards making our nation rise one step ahead. There are various government policies and directions that are required for monitoring and delivering the turnkey projects handled by EPC companies in a variety of industries. In general, the issues that usually hinder EPC processes are land acquisition, logistics, and engineering. I feel inspecting each of these issues individually will help the situation for all the stakeholders. Lastly, various EPC companies have led the industry's positioning in India for a long time, and this web session have enlightened us on different aspects revolving around EPC and turnkey projects. It has shown us the best possible ways for utilizing ideas that have been thoroughly researched and tested to improve India's economic and infrastructural health. With these views, ladies and gentlemen, I once again thank you all for your participation and support and wish to get continued cooperation in our future endeavors also. Take care and be safe. One last, I would like to also mention a special name, Mr. Chakravarti's name. He has moderated and conceived this program, and he has moderated it very well. And thank you, sir. Thank you for your help and for your support. Hope to have all of you in future also. Take care. Be safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.